This is the MHS Pawdcast, the online radio voice of Metuchen High School.
Hello everyone and welcome to another edition of the Metuchen High School Podcast, the online radio voice of MHS. I'm Kalegi.
And I'm Josh Hyman.
It is going to be a very exciting show on tap today, and after Josh goes through the school announcements as always, we'll be first joined by Freshmen Gloria, Domingues, and Roselyn, Almazan about the Pulsera Project that they are doing with several other schools around the country with the Spanish Club to help artists in Nicaragua share their craft. Much more coming soon. Then, sports contributor Dylan Manfre joins us for a preview of the upcoming spring sports season, actually his final season covering Metuchen High School sports. And finally, ELA teacher Mr. Mazza joins the show to talk about the newspaper club and why it's worth it to write for the Bulldog's bark. But first, Josh, take it away with these announcements.
Thank you, Eddie. First off, the Pi Day was extended till next week. Each grade is challenged to bring in 314 circular, cylindrical, non-perishable goods. Anyone who donates will receive a circular treat. Make sure to participate to help your grade reach their mark. And, by the way, several teachers are giving extra credit for getting those cans in. Next, the spring play is on its way. Showings of Crazy For You will be Friday night, March 23rd, and Saturday, March 24th at 7 p.m. And then a Sunday matinee on the 25th at 3 p.m. Make sure to come and support all the MHS students participating in this year's spring musical. And finally, third cycle is nearing its end. The last day of the cycle is the last day before break, Thursday, March 29th. That's all I've got. Back to you, Eddie.
Thanks a lot, Josh. Welcome back to the Metuchen High School Podcast, the online radio voice of Metuchen High School. I'm Kalegi.
And I'm Josh Hyman.
9 years ago, a group of friends were traveling in Central America, and they discovered a community of artists in the hills of Nicaragua who weaved beautiful bracelets, or pulseras, but had no one to sell them to. These students returned to the U.S. with plenty of pulseras to sell on behalf of their newfound friends. Nearly a decade later, this has spread throughout the United States, and now Metuchen High School is getting involved. To talk about it, it's great to be joined by Freshmen Gloria, Domingues, and Roselyn, Almazan. Welcome to the show.
Hi.
Okay, so when did you guys first hear about the Pulsera Project?
I think it was like a couple months ago.
Yeah, our club advisor, Miss Scala, we're part of the culture club, and she met the founder.
Yes, a long time ago, and then she showed us the website, and she was like, oh, we could do this.
Alright, so what motivated you guys to follow through with this and do it?
We wanted to do a service project in our club to make a difference, help other people.
And we saw on the website, like, all the pictures and the videos, how it personally impacted many of the Nicaraguan people there, and we were really interested in it.
You mentioned how your club advisor helped get involved. Is there anybody else who's helped you start this up, whether it's students, teachers?
No.
Nope.
That's just her?
Us.
So tell us a little bit about the fundraiser and when will the bracelets be available?
So we're going to sell them from March 20 to the 23rd, and we might present them in a few of Miss Scala's Spanish classes, so that will help create advertisement.
And we'll also sell them probably before and after school, like it will be in the main entrance, like in Times Square.
So why should students participate in this? What will they get out of being a part of the Pulsera Project?
I mean, you'll just feel happy. I mean, you're helping people who are living in poverty, and just $5 can really help them there, so.
Yeah, the bracelets are really pretty.
They are. They're very
You're
pretty.
You're going to stop and stare. It's going to be great.
And it's for boys and girls. It's not just for girls, so yeah.
All right, so everybody can get involved. It'll be next week, March 20th through March 23rd. Gloria, Domingues, Roselyn, Almazan, thanks a lot for joining us here on the MHS Podcast.
Thank you.
Josh Hyman will be back with us later in the show. This is the MHS Pawdcast, the online radio voice of Metuchen High School. I'm Kalegi. Even though there is a lot of snow on the ground right now, that will soon melt away, with spring on the way. And with that comes the spring sports season. And to preview it, it's great to be joined once again by Dylan Manfre. Welcome to the show.
I really hope the snow melts soon, Eddie.
I'm hoping so, too.
I can't stand it anymore.
Well, we're going to start with this track team as the spring season nears. How will some of these senior runners fare in their final season running with the Dogs? What are some of the major events that Metuchen will be participating in this spring?
Well, first of all, let's hope there's not another snowstorm hindering their practices, and
Definitely.
they don't have to shovel the track once again. 2 nor'easters, I think, is too many. But for the boys, the big thing with spring track is that they get the runners that they didn't have during winter track or cross country. runners such as Riley Watkins, who trained with the cross-country team over the fall to gain some endurance and gain some more speed. And over the winter, Riley played basketball and did very well in that. Was one of the big leaders of the team, and he's the type of kid that really is mindful about what he's doing with his body. He's redefined his diet. It's honestly, it's scary what he does. I'm not going to dive into it because that's his own little secret, but he is the type of guy whose speed definitely boosts the morale of the sprinting club and definitely makes a difference in some major events such as the 4x400 meter relay and the 400 meter hurdle, which Metuchen is a bit short on the boys, and they are a bit short on hurdles, so Riley's definitely making up that ground. Sean Watson and Avi Hogan-Appel. Avi, even though he's a junior, he had an amazing indoor campaign, as well as Sean Watson, both of them going to meet the champs. So it's going to be very key for them to step up to the plate and be very good and run their race to the best of their ability. And I think they will. Avi's going to also be helping Riley in the 4x4. Sean might see some time in the 4x4. He's probably going to be doing the 100 and 200 mainly this year. On the girls' end, they have a lot of youth. They have a lot of depth in a lot of areas with freshman Isabel Wiener as a sprinter, Alex Harkness, and also, an experienced junior such as Emma Cassani on the sprinting side of things. She also did cross country and winter track, so seeing her back in full form is going to be invaluable for the girls this season. And I think they have it's not about really their getting to the end result. Well, it is in a way, but they mostly are focused on getting good performances at big meets, such as the Penn Relay Carnival, which is held in April, one of the biggest track meets in the world, for that matter. And a lot of guys really had that meet circled on their calendar. A couple years ago, the Metuchen boys 4x8 qualified for the Penn Relays. You don't need to get under a qualifying time for an event such as like the 4x4, I believe, or the 100 meter dash, or a 4x100. So those events are something that Metuchen runs at frequently, but it's also important to perform well on those stages.
Alright, so bats have been cracking for over a week now with the boys' baseball team. What can be expected from these boys this season? Who, in terms of pitching and hitting, will help guide this team to hopefully a strong campaign in the GMC this year?
Well, the GMC is always very, very competitive. I think the pitching rotation will be similar to what we saw last year with Matt Volpe, Mike Lipchinski, Will Haranch, maybe even a little Sean McCadden on the mound. But the pitching rotation is very strong last year. It was very strong last year, and I think it'll be very strong this year. Against Riverside last year, Matt Volpe and Mike Lipchinski combined for a no-hitter. And it just goes to show how well they work together. Also, you have to remember with the pitching rotation, the pitch limit. I believe it's no more than 70 pitches. If you pitch at least 70, you have to sit out a game. If you pitch over 90, it's 2, and over 100, it's 3. I have to look that one up again, but I think this team has a lot of depth at many positions. They lost some key players to the rotation this year from graduation. Kyle Harry, 4-year starter, all GMC, all Group 1, and he was the starting catcher and leadoff man in the lineup. Sam Johnson in the outfield, very big outfield presence, very fast guy who can get back and save some home run balls. And also they lost some speed with Matt Kasha, who scored the tying run for Metuchen in the sectional final against Middlesex off the RBI double from Mike Lipchinski. So in terms of the seniors and juniors and underclassmen replacing them, Trent Leaf, Griffin Kick, Brian Corrigan. 3 names that you will need to look out for, definitely. All 3 are juniors, and all 3 can provide a bat and are expected to see increased varsity time. Also, Matt Volpe and Mike Lipchinski, again, they're going to be the big senior leaders of the team, Sean McCadden as well. So I think Metuchen has a very tight-knit unit. All the guys are very close, so the chemistry is very high. They know what their goals are. And I think that it's going to be, in terms of the schedule, they really show no mercy to the Bulldogs this year. Last year, they started at 1-5 before, going on an 11-game win streak and making it an unprecedented run into the postseason and finishing out the season strong. They get started off with North Brunswick, then they have a home and home with Spotswood and South River. They dropped both games of the season to Spotswood last year, and I think the first game was decided by 2 runs, and the second game was decided by a run. Then they have, I think, North Hunterdon, and then it's 2 games against South River, and right after that, Middlesex, the team who they lost to 3-2 in the sectional finals last year, and they split the regular season series. They show no mercy, but Coach Danik and the boys really want to get a strong start to the season because it'll help their confidence for the rest of the season and show that this team can compete on the GMC stage.
All right, one last thing to get to, because with baseball comes softball, and senior leadership will be key. Who will help lead this team this season, and how do you feel they'll do in comparison to the rest of the GMC?
Well, the only seniors on this team this year are Molly Walters and Julie Piero. The 2 of them are very close, both 4-year players, and they're also very experienced in the outfield. The Bulldogs are going to have some ground to make up, being that they lost, like the baseball team, they lost a lot of key members, such as Brooke Bandola, who is around, I think, a .323 hitter in terms of her batting average. They lost their starting pitcher, Molly O'Connor, who pitched a majority of the games for the Bulldogs this season. They also lost Alana Benderly, Julie Stankiewicz, who she might not have gotten the most playing time, but she might have been a designated hitter at times, and she definitely made her contributions known when they needed it to be most. When Metuchen, I think, beat Mother Seton last year 20-3, they scored 20 runs on 20 hits. Julie Stankiewicz had at least 2, I believe. So, losing that depth in the lineup that was provided by her and her leadership, is going to be tough, as well as the other seniors as well. The starting pitcher position, especially the girls, are going to have to make up. But Coach Misak is confident that they can fill those spots nicely. They have a lot of experienced players, such as Emily Glutz, Sarah Pahaka, Julia Fenton, and Julia DiBendetto. I think everybody's going to fit in nicely. They haven't had a scrimmage yet, so Coach Misak, when I spoke to him yesterday, didn't really offer much as to who the starting pitcher will be. They're going to have a scrimmage first, which is why I want all this snow to melt really, really quickly.
Mm-hmm. All right, so that's going to just about wrap up this interview. Dylan Manfre will be back with more as the spring season nears even closer. Dylan, thanks for joining us.
No problem, Eddie. Thanks for having me.
All right, so when we come back, Josh will join us once again, and we'll be talking to Mr. Mazza about the newspaper club. But first, here's a word from our sponsor.
Insurance. It's a commodity. It shouldn't be an impulse buy. Purchasing the right insurance takes time, and it must be fitted for your goals and your lifestyle. Farmers Insurance likes to do it right. They invite you to sit back, have some coffee, and relax. They listen to your needs, desires, and dreams, and shape an insurance policy just for you. An old-fashioned take on insurance? Possibly, but it's been working for agents and clients alike for years. Visit your local agent, Ed Van Eckert, today at 54 Pearl Street right here in Metuchen, or call 732-548-4444 for a free quote. Ed's number one concern is Metuchen. Once again, that's 732-548-4444 or at 54 Pearl Street in Metuchen. Farmers, making the Brainy Borough smarter about insurance.
We are farmers. Bum, ba, bum, 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 bum.
Having trouble seeing the board in class? Do you need safety glasses for your school sport? If you answered yes to either of these questions, head over to Optique Unique, the eyeglass store at 406 Main Street in Metuchen. Optique Unique does it all. Not only do they offer eyewear for all ages, they also sell sports-specific safety glasses for kids and adults. Call them at 732-321-2020. That's 732-321-2020, or visit OptiqueUnique.com. Do you want to build character, build confidence, or even build yourself? All that and more can be accomplished at the Black Belt Institute at 23 New Street, right here in Metuchen. Students of all ages have been able to learn respect, discipline, fitness, and self-defense from their experienced instructors for over 20 years. Whether you're an adult looking for stress reduction or know someone young who has interest in Taekwondo, the Black Belt Institute is the place to go. The Institute takes a fun approach at teaching the rules of self-defense, instilling in their students an I-can-do-it attitude. Interested in taking a class? Call them at 732-205-9797 or visit their website at blackbeltinst.com. Once again, that's 732-205-9797 or blackbeltinst.com. The Black Belt Institute, Metuchen's leader in martial arts and fitness.
Let's give a thank you to some of our sponsors. Thank you to What's the Scoop, Reflections on Main, the Main Street Barbershop, and the Metuchen Savings Bank. None of this would be possible without the help of these businesses.
Welcome back to the Metuchen High School Podcast, the online radio voice of Metuchen High School. I'm Kalegi.
And I'm Josh Hyman.
The third issue for the Bulldogs Bark in the 2017-18 school year is available today. There's still one more to go this year, and tons of openings for writers for the upcoming issues. To talk about the club, it's wonderful to be joined by ELA teacher here at Metuchen High and advisor of the newspaper club, Mr. Mazza. Welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Alright, so when did you first get involved with the school newspaper here at Metuchen High, and why did you take the opportunity?
Oh, it was about 22 years ago, and of course I love writing, and I had the opportunity actually shortly after I was hired, not the first year I believe, but when the opening presented itself, I thought this would be great. It's something that I enjoy, and so that's when I first became involved.
Right, so what is your favorite part about running the newspaper club?
I think my favorite part is providing a forum for students to explore writing in a different way, especially now. I think we live in a society that is predominantly point and click. Comments seem to be more reactive, that is, people react to things without thinking carefully. And I like to see the kind of writer who is more responsive and reflective, and I think the paper provides a forum for that. We have creative writing, poetry, book reviews, and it's not about the soundbite. You know, the kids have to slow down and think about what they want to say, and it's nice to see. For me, it's very refreshing, and I think it allows them to hone their craft.
It's very nice. So you just stated what's usually in the issue. So what can students expect from this most recent issue of the Bulldogs Bark?
Because it's a perfect day today for you to be on, because today is the
right,
day of the
it just
third
so coincided.
Yeah.
Right, that was great. I'm excited about I always like the fiction section in particular. I have 3 short stories in there this edition, and there's a rich diversity to them in terms of the voice, so I hope readers enjoy that. I have 2 poems. As usual, the articles about the book reviews I think are very informative and provide unique perspectives, as are the editorials. And of course, your article there.
Yep, I've got my first one.
You have your first one there in the back, so it's nice to see that. There are plenty of contributors. I have an illustrator as well. So, and then the usual student features. We have the spotlight on the first page, and there's a feature. The next to last page is about. We usually try to focus on a student who does something that many people might not know about. So I really like that section. We've had boxers, karate experts, jewelry makers, illustrators, photographers, and this edition we have a fashion designer.
Very interesting. So why should students join the school paper? And is there room for more writers?
There always is. I try to make room for people. I think that what I look for more than anything is passion and initiative. And of course, there has to be a willingness to grow. It doesn't happen if it's a one-shot deal for the writer. It usually takes time, but that's one of the things I enjoy, is seeing a person grow through the years. So you take a book reviewer. I've had book reviewers. I try to select someone who is an avid reader, and you see them grow from freshman to senior year, and they get more professional because they simply have more time to practice and to hone their craft. So yes, there's always room for those who like to participate, and I will make room for them if I can. So that consistency is easier said than done, but they're out there. If I just keep my eyes open, and when I see a certain kind of initiative, I go after it. And as I did with you, you know, I see that you have this podcast, and I'm impressed with your passion and dedication to it, so I figured I just had a feeling that you would write a column, so that's why. The
podcast and newspaper, since they're both media aspects, go hand in hand in a way.
They do, right, they do.
A thank you to Mr. Mazza, to Dylan Manfre, to Gloria and Roselyn, and obviously to Miss Wisniewski, our club advisor, and Miss Glave for providing the space. We'll see you next week for another edition of the podcast. Until then, I'm Eddie Kalegi.
And I'm Josh Hyman.
Signing off here on the MHS Pawdcast, the online radio voice of Metuchen High School.